On the eve of Hollywood's biggest night, cameras flash and familiar faces glide down red carpets. Yet one name still sparks a different kind of curiosity. Dolores Hart, the young actress who once shared an unforgettable on-screen kiss with Elvis Presley and then quietly disappeared from the spotlight. At the height of her fame, when every studio door seemed open, an opportunity knocked the loudest. She made a decision that stunned the entertainment world. She chose silence over celebrity. For decades, fans wondered what could possibly draw a rising star away from film premieres, magazine covers, and the promise of superstardom. There was no scandal, no professional downfall, no public fallout. Instead, there was simply a young woman, only 25 years old, who felt called to something deeper than applause. Now, at 87, Dolores Hart reflects on that extraordinary turning point with clarity and peace. Her story is not about rejecting Hollywood in anger. It is about listening closely to an inner voice and having the courage to follow it, wherever it leads. A childhood rooted in faith and creativity, born. Dolores Hicks, on October 20th, 1938, in Chicago, Illinois. She grew up in a household shaped by strong Catholic values and an appreciation for the arts. Her family encouraged discipline, compassion, and purpose, qualities that would later define her most life-changing decisions. From an early age, she showed both imagination and sensitivity, drawn to storytelling and performance. Yet even as she explored acting, there was always something thoughtful and grounded about her. She wasn't dazzled by dreams of fame so much as intrigued by meaningful expression. While studying at Mundelein College, a respected women's liberal arts institution in Chicago, her interest in theater deepened. Professors recognized her poise and sincerity, and it became clear that she possessed a rare screen presence, natural, unforced, and quietly magnetic. When Hollywood eventually came calling, it happened quickly. What no one could have predicted was that the same inner foundation that helped her succeed in film would later guide her away from it. Sharing the screen with Elvis Presley. Dolores Hart's rise in Hollywood was swift and luminous. After signing with Paramount Pictures, she began attracting attention for her elegance and emotional honesty. Everything changed in 1957 when she appeared opposite Elvis Presley in Loving You. At just 18 years old, she delivered what became Elvis's first on-screen kiss, a cinematic moment that would live in pop culture history. Their chemistry continued in King Creole the following year, further cementing her status as a rising star. Audiences were captivated by her calm charm, while critics praised her authenticity. She didn't rely on dramatic flair. Instead, she offered warmth and sincerity that felt refreshingly real. Hollywood saw in her the promise of longevity, comparing her potential to some of the era's most respected actresses. Yet, even amid flashing cameras and growing fame, there remained something introspective about her, a sense that her life might not be entirely defined by the silver screen. Proving herself beyond glamour. By 1960, Dolores had firmly stepped into leading lady territory with Where the Boys Are, a film that captured the spirit of a changing generation. Her performance stood out for its emotional balance. Lighthearted yet thoughtful, polished yet relatable. She demonstrated that she was far more than a glamorous co-star. She was a serious actress, capable of depth. Rather than remain in safe romantic roles, she surprised many by accepting the part of St. Clair in Francis of Assisi in 1961. The role demanded spiritual intensity and moral conviction, far removed from Hollywood sparkle. Dolores embraced it wholeheartedly, approaching the character with reverence and sincerity. During production, she found herself increasingly moved by the story's spiritual themes. It was not merely another acting job. It felt personal. Around this time, those closest to her began noticing a shift. She was still working successfully, but something deeper seemed to be stirring beneath the surface. The quiet visit that changed everything. In 1959, at the height of her career momentum, Dolores made a private visit to the Abbey of Regina Laud in Connecticut. There was no press announcement and no dramatic farewell to Hollywood. She simply sought silence. In that peaceful environment, removed from studio schedules and public attention, She felt a sense of calm she hadn't experienced elsewhere. She asked the Mother Abbess whether she might be called to religious life. The response was gentle: "Return to your world and live fully. Clarity will come in time." So she did. She went back to Hollywood, continued making films, and even became engaged to architect Don Robinson. Wedding plans were set, and her future appeared beautifully mapped out. Yet the quiet question she had once asked never disappeared. It lingered, patiently, growing stronger with each passing year until she could no longer ignore it. A decision that shocked Hollywood. In 1963, Dolores Hart made a choice that stunned the entertainment industry. At just 25, with a thriving career and a wedding on the horizon, she stepped away from acting and entered Regina Laud Abbey. There was no dramatic press conference, only a simple announcement that she had chosen a different life. Friends and colleagues were bewildered. Fans struggled to understand. But for Dolores, the decision felt clear and steady. She was not running from Hollywood. She was running towards something that felt deeply right. Her final screen appearances, including a role in The Virginian and the film Come Fly With Me, showed an actress at her artistic peak. Yet applause no longer defined her purpose. She exchanged red carpets for cloisters, scripts for prayer books, and interviews for quiet reflection. It was an act of courage rarely seen in a world that often clings tightly to fame. Building a new life. Within the Abbey, life inside the Abbey was not an escape, but a commitment. Dolores embraced the rhythms of prayer, community, and service that define Benedictine life. Over time, she became known not as a former actress, but as Sister Dolores. In 2001, she was elected prioress of the Abbey, a leadership role that reflected the trust and respect of her fellow sisters. Her responsibilities included guiding spiritual life, overseeing daily operations, and nurturing a sense of unity within the community. Interestingly, her background in the arts did not disappear. It found new expression. Music, theater, and creativity flourished within the Abbey walls, subtly enriched by her experience. Rather than rejecting her past, she integrated it into her present. The discipline she learned in Hollywood became a strength in monastic life, and the compassion she valued as an actress deepened in service. Revisiting her story for a new generation. In 2011, the documentary God is the Bigger Elvis introduced her remarkable journey to younger audiences. The film, which earned an Academy Award nomination, explored the striking contrast between her Hollywood fame and her monastic calling. Around the same time, she published her memoir, The Ear of the Heart, reflecting honestly on her choices and spiritual growth. She did not speak with regret, but with gratitude. Interviews and public appearances revealed a woman at peace with her path. She acknowledged the beauty of her acting years, while affirming that her deeper fulfillment came from faith and devotion. Her story resonated far beyond religious communities. It became a universal reminder that success is not one size fits all, and that fulfillment often requires listening to one's inner truth. Her bond with Elvis, revisited with grace. In later years, Dolores gently addressed lingering curiosity about her relationship with Elvis Presley. She described their connection as a meaningful friendship grounded in respect and understanding. While the public often romanticized their bond, she clarified that what they shared went beyond headlines. Elvis, she recalled, was thoughtful and kind beneath his larger-than-life persona. They understood the pressures of sudden fame and found comfort in that shared experience. When she ultimately chose religious life, Elvis responded with compassion. There was no bitterness, only acceptance. Looking back, Dolores speaks of him warmly, recognizing the role he played in her early life while emphasizing that her spiritual calling was independent of any one relationship. Their paths simply moved in different directions. A life defined by purpose, not applause. Today, Dolores Hart's journey stands as one of Hollywood's most extraordinary stories, not because of glamour, but because of conviction. She lived two very different lives with equal sincerity. One was filled with studio lights and cinematic history, the other with prayer, leadership, and quiet service. Her choice continues to inspire those who wonder whether it is ever too late or too radical to follow a deeper calling. At 87, she reflects not on what she left behind, but on what she gained: clarity, community, and a sense of enduring peace. In a culture that often measures success by visibility, her life offers a gentle counterpoint. Sometimes the bravest step is not toward the spotlight, but away from it.